Hello, makers. Welcome to our DIT, Doing It Together creative art series. My name is Ruth, and in this video, we're going to talk about the supplies. So if you have your kit, go ahead and open your box. Let's walk through some of those pieces together. The first thing you'll notice when you get inside is some papers. The first are just kind of a flyer on our other programming. Definitely check those out. The main thing I want to point out, though, is the welcome packet. This has very helpful information in it, a good reference page. It talks about all our Zoom sessions, the times and dates. It also has our reference page or reference site that you can go to that has a whole lot of information on it, too. This is just basic information, good to have on hand. If we flip that page over, the next thing we'll see is our contents list. And I definitely recommend pulling this out and making sure you have all those pieces. This is just what's inside our kit. The next page is a really important page, and this is the one that I would say have out with you. But it lists out the different projects that we're going to be doing together. It also lists out the supplies that are included in the kit that we need, the supplies that we need that are not in the kit, and those are going to be things like scissors, extra paper, things like that. And then there's an optional supplies. Now, the optional supplies are things that you can add in if you want to, but you don't have to. You don't need it. And those are going to be things like extra tissue paper, other paint, things like that. But we'll talk about each of those things as we go through our supply kit. And then the last page of that welcome packet talks about all the supplies and some different links to be able to order more if you want some. You don't have to order through these links, but this gives you kind of a starting place if you're looking for more of the same supplies. The next packet you'll find in your kit is our illustrated instruction packet. This one is very important. This is filled with all the projects that we're going to be doing. Every page is laid out the same way. We have our list of supplies at the top, and then that process is laid out step by step. Now, in each Zoom session and each video, I'll be walking through this process. You can follow along, you can take notes. If you like this, you can use this as a recipe card to repeat or share. And if you don't like it, you can always throw it away because sometimes that feels nice too, and that's okay. But in our illustrated instruction packet, you'll also see some information pages. And this just gives us some background information and history on the different projects that we're going to be doing. This is a great packet. If you do for some reason lose it or are missing pages, you can always check out our resource page. All of this information is included on that site. You will always have access to that. So that's our illustrated instruction packet. Now, as we go through our kit, we'll notice quite a few things. You may find at the top a little plastic plate. We're going to be using this for our first project, creating a sun catcher. You can use other things, other plastic plates. Glass plates are also another option, but this is that plastic plate. We can see that there's like cut glass, so there's some really nice angles to it, and it's going to work really well for our first project. You'll also in your kit see clay. We're going to be using clay for two different projects, and so we'll need a total of 8 ounces. You may see it in different combinations. You may see it in 2 packs. You may see it in 1 pack, half a pack, but this is a paper clay. It's an air dry clay, so we don't need a kiln, and it's something that dries just being out in the air. It's easy to work with, and you can get a lot of really fun projects, as we'll see later on in this series. We're using paper clay, but there are so many different types of air dry clay that you can bring in and use as well. So if you do enjoy that, this is a great product, but there are also other options as well. This isn't the only one. So that paper clay, paper air dry clay, is going to be a lot of fun to work with. The next thing you may notice in your kit are some fiber dye. Now, this pack has several options in it, but it's got several different colors in there that we can choose from. And they come in smaller packs like this. This is a fiber dye that's used for a whole bunch of different types of fabrics, and we're going to be using this for 2 of our projects. So that fiber dye is a lot of fun to work with. And has a lot of uses as well. So we'll need that fiber dye kit. You'll also find in your kit some acrylic paint. This is a starter set, so you have a variety of colors. It also includes 2 different paint brushes, a wide flat one, and a small round one. We're going to be using both of those in our series. This is just plain acrylic paint too. So if you have other acrylic paint that you want to bring in, other colors, more options, definitely feel free to do that. As I said, this is just a starter kit to kind of get us started. You'll also notice in your kit one of my favorite art supplies, which is Mod Podge. Mod Podge is like the magic art supply. You can use it as a sealant, you can use it as an adhesive, you can use it as a transfer medium, and we're going to be using it in a few different ways. Mod Podge is really nice. You may find that there are different types of Mod Podge. There's a matte, there's a gloss, and there are so many other options as well. It's like a huge category now. But either the matte or the gloss are going to be the best ones to work with. The Mod Podge is an excellent supply. And as I said, we'll be using it a few times in this series. It's a good art supply to have on hand. The next thing you may find in your kit are going to be 4 coasters. And these are just regular cork coasters. So they're going to be okay on any surface. And with what we're going to be doing, we're going to be using that Mod Podge and the paint. We'll be able to make some really wonderful coasters with this and talk about different designs. Now, you can also do this project with wooden tile, like wooden coaster squares as well, or ceramic tile. So if you have those other options, feel free to bring those in. We're doing cork, mostly because it's lightweight and it's easy to use, but those other options work as well. The next thing we'll find in our kit is some macrame cording. This is a regular macrame cotton cording. You'll see we have quite a bit in there. We're going to be using this for one project. You can use macrame cording, but you can also use other supplies. If you have a thick yarn, if you have t-shirt yarn, if you have just a regular like rope that you can get from a home supply store, there are lots of options that we can use for this supply as well. We're just starting off with a white macrame cording because we're going to be doing some fiber dyeing with it later. So the macrame cording is it's going to be a lot of fun. The next supply that you'll find in your kit is going to be a white bandana. We're going to be using this for our fiber dyeing project as well. It's regular cotton. And which is the best for any kind of fiber dyeing process using those natural fibers. But you can also bring in other materials as well. So you can use silk, you can use linen, you can use canvas. There are a lot of options. The best material for fiber dyeing is going to be a natural material like the ones I just mentioned, but you can bring in synthetics or other materials as well. It's just going to have a better, it'll hold on to that fabric, or the fiber will hold on to that pigment better when it's a natural material. But other synthetics or blends work well also. Another thing that you'll find in your kit is a little battery powered candle. We're going to be using this for our clay project. I definitely recommend using a battery powered one so we don't have to worry about fire or anything like that. But you can use other candles as well, or not use a candle at all. But this is something that's really inexpensive and you can get at the dollar store as well. So it's a really nice gift, or will make a really nice gift with our project. You may notice it's kind of hard to find. It might be in the corner of the box, but there may be, but it may be off to the side. It's a dowel, a little wooden dowel. This one isn't large. It's kind of a large chopstick type dowel, but it's not a very thick dowel. And we're going to be using this for our macrame project. Now you can use other materials for this. You can use a stick that you found. You can use a chopstick. You can use a paintbrush, anything that's kind of long and straight and kind of narrow in its shape are going to be really good for this project, but we're going to be using it as a base to hang our macrame. So there are other options that you can use instead, but that wooden dowel is in there. You may also find at the bottom of your kit, there's going to be pieces of tissue paper. You should have about four different colors. And this is just regular tissue paper. It's the tissue paper that you get for wrapping gifts. So it's not anything fancy. If you have other tissue paper that you want to bring in that have been used for gifts or just kind of piling up, this project that we're going to be doing, our first project together, is a great way to use some of that tissue paper. Now, you may also notice that your kit came with a piece of orange tissue paper just to make the box pretty. You can also use this tissue paper for our first project as well. So if you have other tissue paper, definitely bring that in. It'll help make a really fun project. Now, the last thing I want to talk about that's found in your kit is going to be a Ziploc bag that has several supplies in it. So let's kind of go over some of those supplies now. The first thing you may notice are disposable gloves. If you have other disposable gloves that you want to use, that's great. This is just to kind of protect our hands when we do our fiber dyeing. Fiber dyeing, the dye that we talked about, will stain your hands, but it eventually comes off with soap and water. But it doesn't come out of clothes or countertops or things like that. So it's always good to protect our hands and protect our workspace. Those disposable gloves will help protect our hands. And then thinking about working on a tray or foil or newspaper, something like that is a really great work surface. You'll also find a few rubber bands in your kit. You can definitely bring more rubber bands in or a twine. We're going to be using this for our fiber dye project as well. If you're using other rubber bands or twine or yarn, you want to make sure that you're using material that doesn't have any pigment in it. Because we're doing fiber dyeing, if we're using rubber bands that are a different color or twine, maybe that's a different color, that color will transfer to our fiber. And so we want to make sure that whatever we use, whether it's these rubber bands or other ones, other twine that we're bringing in, we want to make sure that it's natural colors, so there's no transfer of color that way. You'll also find in your Ziploc bag a set of magnets. These are adhesive magnets, so they'll stick to what we're going to be doing. But if you do find that some of these magnets have come off the paper or connecting to each other, that's okay. We're going to talk about other ways to fix our magnets to our project. So if you do find them connecting to each other or falling off, that's really okay. Sometimes that's just the nature of shipping. But any type of magnet, and these are perfect for what we're going to be doing, you can fix in other ways. That Mod Podge will come in handy for that. And then the last thing that's in the Ziploc bag is a silver handled brush, paintbrush. The reason this is included is because the Mod Podge that we're going to be using, it works really well when you have a brush, a paintbrush, to put it on a surface. Some people use the sponge brush. That's helpful too, but I found this brush is really helpful for what we're doing. The reason we have a specific brush for our Mod Podge is because that Mod Podge does kind of ruin the brushes that we use. So once we use it for Mod Podge, we can't use it for painting. So this silver handle brush is always going to be our Mod Podge brush. It's a specific brush just for our glue. So you'll find that in that Ziploc bag as well. And these are all the supplies that are included in our kit. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at our email at kits@mather, and that's KITS @mather.com. We're always happy to answer questions. If you're interested in other supplies that you can use, you can definitely reach out to. I'm excited to create with you all. See you soon.